Hi everyone in the world of cloud computing, and welcome to episode 5 of the Cloud Computing Australia show with Brad Nelson and the world's #1 cloud industry expert and thought leader, David Linthicum. This show is sponsored by Nelson Hilliard, cloud computing recruitment specialists, placing great people in cloud, IoT, fintech and AI. In this week's show, David and I will be discussing, is Oracle's investment in the cloud good for Australia, or should Australia focus on the larger cloud leaders such as AWS and Microsoft? Hi Dave, great to see you again.
It's good to see you too, Brad.
Looking forward to this show today.
Absolutely looking forward to this show.
So the question...
Chomping at the bit.
Sorry?
Chomping at the bit.
Excellent. The question this week, it's a really interesting one actually for Australia and Oracle. So in your opinion, is Oracle's investment in the cloud good for Australia, or should Australia focus on the larger cloud leaders such as AWS?
I think that Australian-based companies should really kind of, take what they can get. So, certainly AWS is going to focus on the Australian market, and I think that Microsoft is going to focus on the Australian market. But if Oracle is willing to make an investment in infrastructure and in companies that are focused on cloud, then go ahead and take their money. And I think that whether Oracle's a successful public cloud cloud provider or not really doesn't make a difference. So ultimately, this is about traction in the market and basically, you trying to get into as many clouds as you can as quickly as you can, and that's really going to provide progression in the market.
There's approximately, I think, about 2 million small, medium businesses in Australia. Many of those aren't actually working with Oracle at the moment, or they've not even used the cloud before. Where do you see Oracle positioning for the small to medium-sized businesses?
I think they're trying to get into a market that hasn't really picked a public cloud provider. So they haven't really gone AWS, or they haven't gone Microsoft, they haven't gone Google. So if Oracle gets in there and markets to those people and basically provides them with the basic cloud services that they're looking for, they're going to be able to take that market away from AWS and Google. And even though it's a smallish market, relative to the other markets in the world, it really is going to be kind of a feather in Oracle's cap if they're able to kind of capture the majority of the Australian market. So it's smart for the Oracle to get into that market and start investing in marketing their services and basically selling their cloud. Because if, Oracle becomes the de facto standard in Australia, which I don't think will happen, that's a huge win for them. And they haven't won much so far.
And how quickly do you see the effectiveness of Oracle's solution for the small to medium-sized businesses, and where do you see the major problems lying for them?
I think that Oracle provides good storage services, good compute services, and I think they're going to be competitive with AWS in that realm. But when you get into the governance services, security services, identity and access management, those sorts of things, Oracle's really kind of fallen behind. However, the Australian market may not really kind of pay attention to kind of the specific services that they're looking for. So ultimately, they're going to try to get into the market with what they have, and it's a bare set of resources. But the reality is that small to medium-sized businesses only need a bare set of resources. So I think that'll be fine. I think the problems will come in when they deal with security issues, governance issues. They're looking for databases such as Redshift, DynamoDB, things like that. And that will be, kind of the key differentiator where, AWS will basically, sit above Oracle in the cloud. And so as long as the Australian market doesn't realize that too soon, Oracle will be fine. But I think the Australian market is more sophisticated than Oracle thinks. And ultimately, they're going to, basically bypass Oracle for AWS. But Oracle's, getting in there with their money. And I think looking for discounts and giving away their cloud services and all those sorts of things that'll help Australian companies, go for it, guys.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's quite a fight out there, isn't it, for the Australian market? I think Sydney are going to be joining Hong Kong, Bangalore, Seoul and Singapore with leading Oracle's startup plan. And like you said, they're definitely going to be taking the fight to AWS, that's for sure, and Microsoft. So it will be an interesting fight to watch, that's for sure, because it's mainly been AWS and Azure, isn't it, really, that have gone to head with Google coming in as well.
Yeah, and actually this week, Alibaba, according
Alibaba.
to to them is kind of pushed ahead of Google, and so it seems to be a race between Alibaba, Google, and Oracle and IBM for who's competing for the third place, title in there. And so I think that there's room for a third player. I'm not sure Oracle's going to be it, but Oracle's really kind of committed to spending, billions on this market, which is really kind of the entry fee into getting into public cloud. And so if they're able to do that, they're able to put the R&D behind it, able to make the traction they need in the technology, they will give, Google and IBM and Alibaba a run for their money. I just don't think they'll give Microsoft and AWS a run for their money.
Yeah, and I also think that it'll be an interesting one to watch as we do these shows and see the developments, won't it?
Absolutely. Report on that. We'll let everybody know about Oracle's successes and Oracle's failures, and where AWS is picking up traction, where Microsoft is picking up traction. It's going to be a fun game to watch. It's going to be, basically like gladiators for the public cloud.
We might have to do a live broadcast as it happens in real time, Dave. What do you reckon?
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for joining us, Dave, on another great Cloud Computing Australia show. It's always great to have you every week.
Absolutely. It's great to be here. Looking forward to the next show and talking about Australian cloud computing.
Excellent stuff. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. And remember to like, comment and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on our weekly cloud computing shows on training for the C-suites and Cloud Computing Australia. You can also catch the weekly cloud computing news show that I do. And you can catch David on Twitter, which is @David Linthicum, and myself, which is Nelson_Hilliard. Thanks again for watching.